Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another live stream. Today's live stream, I got a really good friend of mine, Aaron, that lives in Querétaro, and he's been on the show before. We had him come on, to do an interview a while ago, and well, here we are today. We're doing a live stream, and I want to make sure we're rolling, rocking, and rolling here before we get started and start asking him questions and start having him introduce himself to you guys and all this other stuff. But again, guys, so this is a friend of mine that's been living in Querétaro for 12 years, and he has a lot of experience, on what it is to live out here. Because remember, you guys watch my channel, there's, some experience that comes from, my life out here, how I came out here. I'm a different age group, so on and so forth. But, he came out here a long time ago, basically, 12 years ago. This was like almost, it's over a decade ago. And things were very different back then, and he's seen like a lot of changes in Querétaro, in Mexico in general. Even the exchange rate was different, everything was just different. Even again, finding a job, I'm sure there was a lot less gringos, right, and expats out here back then, and so on and so forth. So he is like a huge plethora of knowledge, and this is why we have him on the show. Again, not only is he a good friend, but a lot of you guys, I remember when I initially did the first interview with him, you guys, really loved it and wanted more. So here we are. So let's just get right into it, okay? So I know it's going to be some people that are going to be making, making it a little late to the show and all that good stuff. But in the meantime, let's at least get the, a little bit of an intro and so on and so forth. So, Aaron, I'm gonna let I'm gonna throw the mic to you now, and I'm gonna let you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself. So, who are you? Where are you from? Where do you live? What do you do? Just tell us as much as you can. I'm gonna let you speak, and I'll shut up for a little bit since I'm always talking, right, yapping away. So, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Jose. Uh, my name's Aaron Grusby. Like Jose, I was born in South Florida in the late 1950s. I'm 64 years old at right now. I I was brought up in the Boston, Massachusetts area where I was a teacher for a while. Um, I grew up in a family of four, uh, lived in a city called Everett, Massachusetts. I always loved my country and what it stood for until the government decided not to stand for it anymore. And that started happening in the early to mid 90s. And just a little bit background with my family. My grandparents were immigrants from Russia and from Poland. My family my family's roots go back in the United States to the year 1906. But when my father was in his last year of living, he called both me and my sister in, and he said, the United States is no longer the United States. It's not what it used to be. Freedom is being taken away every day, day in and day out. And he warned both me and my sister that when a government lies to you multiple times, you have no obligation to a government that lies to you. That your grandparents came to America because Russia and Poland were, and I quote my grandfather, garbage. And that if the United States is not giving what it promises, because as I think I said in my last time on with Jose, the American dream no longer exists, at least not in America. The American dream is now the American nightmare. And I mean a full-fledged nightmare and horror show. Very quickly, because we have a lot to talk about today. One of the main reasons, the last straw, I told this to Jose pre our interview last time I was on, but this time I'm going to give you the last full story. Jose already knows. That's why he's smiling right now. I had been teaching in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I am an English teacher. On my way, when I landed back in Boston, went up to immigration, gave my passport. They scanned it. It seemed to be everything was okay. Went to get my license, and two Massachusetts Gestapo, Massachusetts state policemen showed up. At first, they wouldn't tell me why they were arresting me. They grabbed me, clapped on and tightened my wrist. I almost didn't have any circulation. They told me, you'll find out when you go to court. Well, I said it's a Friday, it's going to be a long holiday weekend. When am I going to go? Oh, you'll be in court on Tuesday. So I said, for whatever I did, which I don't believe I did anything, they said, shut up. And they threatened to hit me if I didn't shut up. And at that point, I just said, you know what? Okay, this is no longer the land of the free. It's now, Adolf Hitler might have liked this. Oh, by the way, everyone, I happen to be Jewish. So here's a Jew being treated like he would have been treated back in Nazi Germany. Okay, I was brought to the Middlesex County House of Correction, the county lockup. Orange jumpsuit, everybody. Most horrid, crappy food you'd ever want to eat. And my good friend being a cook, a chef, he would never call that stuff food. So I'm stuck there the whole weekend, being herded like sheep and cattle. And by the way, no heat in the cells, no air conditioning, no nothing. It was stifling hot. And finally, Tuesday morning, they bang a heavy metal thing on the bars. Wake up, wake up. They didn't even give me breakfast. They allowed me to put my great thing, they actually allowed me to take a shower. They didn't give us a shower the whole weekend, by the way. I felt like Lambo probably feels if he hasn't been washed down a little bit now and then.
No, but yeah, I mean, I can totally relate. I remember when I was in Texas and my incident happened. Same thing, orange jumpsuit, cold hot dog with a piece of white bread, to eat. No shower either. You know what I mean? I spent again over 3 days without taking a shower. Just terrible, and again, for nothing, basically, really, again, I got arrested for resisting arrest, for asking, what the fuck, For people that wonder if you can get arrested for resisting arrest, yeah, you can. Anyways, but go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem, Jose. So finally, I get thrown in the paddy wagon. The state police who were driving the paddy wagon must have been drunk. They get me to the Newton District Court in Newton, Massachusetts. I'm hauled in. I wait 3 hours before they pull me into court. And finally, one of the clerks says, you never answered our notice that you went through a red light, and that won't be tolerated in this district. And
And by the way, why didn't you answer that? Because you were out of country. You were in Saudi Arabia, right? Or
yeah, I was in South. That's when I blew up. That's when I went almost mad dog on them. I before they finished saying what they were saying, I said, you imbeciles, you idiots and morons, you put me in that crap hellhole for a whole long weekend. Did you idiots realize that I was arrested at Logan Airport coming back to the country after being almost a year in Saudi Arabia, you dummies? And I looked at the judge and I said, are you as stupid as the rest of these people? He went with the gavel. Mr. Gresby, you shut your mouth. I will not tolerate your kind of insolence here in my court. He said, are you ready to pay the fine? I said, Your Honor, I'll pay the fine. Which one of your clerks should I shove it in their mouth or up their ass?
But yeah, I mean, again, just to show, like how insane the USA is. I mean, it was for a fine over a red light. Why couldn't they have taken care of that in the airport, or giving you some sort of summons, to like, hey, pay XYZ, whatever. Why, again, why put you in jail for over 3 days? Try to make an example out of you for, again, what, missing a red light and not getting the notice. Again, by the way, I'm sure it was like a camera, right? A red light camera. Yeah. I mean, come on. And by the way, for anyone that knows the laws, those things are even and was it like dismissed in court if you know how to fight them correctly, because an actual police officer actually has to write you a ticket. Not some sort of red light camera. But anyways, that's another story. But yeah, I mean, it's just horrible. I mean? You basically, you were abroad, teaching English, you're thinking, you're living the best life ever, whatever. You come back to the USA for, just to come back. And this is how you were greeted, basically thrown in jail for 3 days, over some bullshit. I mean, from bull crap, whatever, for lack of a better description. And I'm sure that was your wake up call, like, all right, I got to get the F out of here, right?
Well, let's put it this way.
And by the way, this was over 12 years ago, right? I'm guessing, right? So,
yeah. This was 1 week before I left Estados Ucrapos.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So basically,
the
yeah. So
States of America.
Wow. So after that happened, that's it. That was your wake up call. You didn't even take a week, and you were out of there.
Before this, one of the main reasons I was teaching overseas was because I was sick and tired that I'm driving down the highway in Massachusetts and I have the speed control on my car going so that I'm at a constant speed. I always set it 2 or 3 miles below the speed limit. But I would constantly be stopped by the Massachusetts Gestapo, and they would say, "Oh, your speed control is not accepted. It doesn't matter. It's what we say you were going at." And in Massachusetts, it might be more now, but in Massachusetts, if you were 1 mile over the speed limit, it's $100. And for each additional mile, they add 25 more bucks per just 1 mile more over the speed limit. I've had as high as $275 speeding ticket. So that was prior. Now this happens, of course. That was it. I paid the fine because I wasn't going to argue with the doofuses, and I paid the fine. They finally took those bracelets off my arms. By the way, I have arthritis in one of these, and I believe it's because of the way they put those things on me.
No, yeah, same here. This thumb was dislocated. I was never able to get it fixed correctly, and yeah. So yeah, I have a situation with my thumb. So yeah. I mean, anyways, they treat you very nice. They give you the 5-star treatment.
Absolutely. Like I said, 4 days later, after I was released, finally I went to my cousin's house and I stayed 4 days. And my cousin said, "But that is an aberration. This is not the way." I told my cousin,
How about this? It's an aberration until it happens to you, and then all of a sudden it's not an aberration anymore. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like it's just people tell me that all the time. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, it just happened to you. Listen, it's gonna happen to you one day. Trust me. You know what I mean? Like make sure. You know what I mean? Like Anyways, but yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah, it's like these things like drive me crazy because people still fight over the fact that like the USA is still the best and the land of the free and all this other stuff. And look, I love my country. I love the USA. I'm not going to be here, disparaging it, in that sense, but the truth is the truth. You know what I mean? It's not the country we grew up in. It's not the country that, most people want to live in these days. It's turned into, again, my parents, Cuban. They come from communist Cuba, and it's turning into that. Okay, basically, long story short, you know what I mean. And it's just insane. You know what I mean? Like the insanity of the what is it? The amount of power that they have, and the amount of enforcement that they have. Over nothing. You know what I mean? Like one of the things I love so much about Mexico is the fact that you have to do something really egregious and really bad. For you to get anything even remotely close to the treatment that you got. You know what I mean? So or I got.
Yeah. Let's put it this way, Jose. I told my cousin that as far as I was concerned, the United States, not the United States itself, but the government of the United States was dead to me as far as I was concerned. I got in a plane, flew from Boston to Chicago, then from Chicago to Mexico City. I have never stood on American soil ever since. I have lived 12 years and 3 months here in Mexico, and I have never gone back, and I never will.
That's great. Yay, congratulations, on that. No, but yeah, it's the same. I mean, same thing. Once I left, it's like, why? I mean, I've been to other countries, but I haven't come back to the USA. Because look, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, look, I mean, I've always been kind of paranoid, you know what I mean? Like that something like that just happened to you would happen to me. You know what I mean? Just going back into the USA. And it's like, hearing your story. I know other people that have had their stories and their situations. It's like, yeah, no way. You know what I mean? Like, you kidding me? Why would I want to go back? I mean, I'm even more scared. I'm even more paranoid, to even just, go back into the USA and then just right at the airport. Forget about it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll figure something out. They'll find something. There's always something. But anyways, all right. So let's just okay. So you finally made it to Mexico. Ben, you just told me that like a little while ago that 12 years, right? Like literally, you just celebrated your 12th year anniversary very recently. Yeah.
January the 25th was my 12th year anniversary. I came here on January the 25th, 2012.
Man, that's kind of crazy. January 25th is the day that me and Christian got married. So look at that. It's like it's a celebration, for both of us in that sense. Yeah, January 25th of 2020 is when we got married. But anyways, so okay, man, that's awesome, man. So it's been a little bit over 12 years. So okay, so with that said, tell us a little bit about how was it, because again, you came to Mexico, like literally, again, sight unseen. I'm guessing, right? I don't know if you've ever been to Mexico before that or not.
The only other time I had been to Mexico was in 1969. My parents and we were on vacation in Southern California. We came to celebrate a bar mitzvah. You know what a bar mitzvah
Yeah, of course.
is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows. It's when a Jewish boy is 13 years old.
Yeah.
It's sort of like coming of age.
Yeah.
We had gone to celebrate a cousin's bar mitzvah, and we were in San Diego visiting another cousin of ours.
Okay.
And we said, well, in those days, you didn't need a passport
Right.
to cross the border into Mexico. So we just went in for the day into Tijuana. And that's the only other time I had ever been to Mexico, but on the other side of the country.
Yeah. Because Tijuana is very different than other parts of Mexico. Because I myself, I've been to Tijuana, various times when I was living in, again, California. I got my California T-shirt on. But yeah, it's very different than where I live right now. You know what I mean? Just I live in the Yucatan, which is all the way out. Basically it's like Florida, the South. And where you're living in the mountains. You're living like again a completely different area. And so okay, so you came out here 12 years ago, and again you came out here with the idea of, first of all, freedom. I need to get out of there. But also you had the background of like, well, I was teaching English in Saudi Arabia, so well, I can probably teach English, right, in Querétaro. So how was it? First of all, did you know Spanish? And how was it? Like, basically, can you maybe give us an account as to how it was your first days here? When you first landed here. You said you got to Mexico City. How did you end up in Querétaro? And by the way, where is Querétaro? Because I don't even know where it is. I know it's somewhere in the center of the country, but yeah.
Okay. If you take the Northern Highway, the Northeastern Highway, because there are two highways that leave Mexico City. One goes up towards the west and actually crosses into the U.S. In Arizona, and the other one goes up to the Rio Grande Valley in Texas. Well, the one that goes up to the Rio Grande Valley, it leaves Mexico City, and about 2.5 to 3 hours later, depending upon the traffic, you will go through the city of Querétaro. The second city you will hit 3 hours after that is San Luis Potosi, which I also have lived in San Luis for about 3 years as well. And from there, it's straight up until you pass through Monterrey, and then it's to the U.S. border. It's about
right to Texas, right?
Yeah, from Querétaro to the Texas border is about 10 hours.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. Yeah. So it's deep, but it's basically one day's drive. It's not super far away. Yeah. Okay. So you landed in Mexico City, and then how long were you there? And did you know Spanish? Did you know any Spanish?
Well, I know a lot more German than I know Spanish. I'm learning, but one of the handicaps of being an English teacher is that you're speaking English all day long. On average, I do 4 or 5 hours a day of English classes, and none of my students want to hear my Spanish. So it's been a challenge, but I am learning.
Yeah.
I can have some basic
Okay.
conversations. Um, I was not in Mexico City very long because I had been hired before I came to Mexico. I had been hired online
Okay.
for an English school in San Luis Potosi.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the owner of the school had told me, come into the airport, go down to the bus station under the airport. There'll be a bus that leaves every 2 hours for San Luis. I'll pick you up at the bus station in San Luis Potosi. And I have lived in San Luis. I've lived in Mexico City. I have lived in Juchitán, Oaxaca,
Oh, okay. Okay.
which is a small city in southern Oaxaca. I taught for 3 years in at the Universidad del Istmo, teaching English. In between, I spent a year in Querétaro earlier, and now this is my second full year back here
Okay.
in Querétaro.
Okay, so I mean, wow, you've been, many places. You've been way more places than me, meaning living in, a bunch of places because I've been living out here in Mérida the whole time. But again, the question which was, do you speak Spanish? You said that you're still learning and you've been there 12 years, but with that, you've been able to get around, you live there, you love it there, you have no problem communicating with most people.
Yeah.
In fact, like you said, since you teach English, I'm sure again most of the people that are learning English from you are Mexicans, right? So you're teaching to Mexicans,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Okay.
I have two sources of teaching.
Okay.
One is through an online school called English Inc. If you don't mind me plugging
No,
them.
no, no, please, plug away. And look, I mean, I know there's a lot of people in the audience that might be interested in teaching English. They might have some credentials like you, because again, by the way, so obviously you got some credentials because you were teaching in Saudi Arabia,
Mhm.
and so yeah, tell us a little bit more about that. Because look, by the way, even if you have zero credentials, like nothing, okay, at all, you can still teach English online, okay. There's other websites, there's all kinds of
Absolutely.
things. But obviously, the more credentials you have, the better, you're suited for that. The more you're gonna get paid. That's
Mhm.
really what we're talking about here. Because obviously, the more knowledge you have and the better you're at it, the more you have the ability to make more money.
Yeah. As part of my background, I hold a master's degree in teaching from the University of Massachusetts, along with a bachelor's degree in history from the University of Massachusetts. Um, the Literally, the name of the school is English Inc.
Like,
Uh,
is it EnglishInc.com or something like that, or
yeah, .org.
.org? Okay, I'll put it in the chat while you're chat. Okay, so go ahead.
Uh, the the owner, his name is Mike Rowley. Rowley. He's an Englishman from London. When I got tired of teaching the kiddies at the university, um, one day I simply get an email. They had seen my credentials online and they asked whether I'd like to work with them.
Okay.
And I was interviewed just like this over the telephone.
Cool.
Uh, Mike hadn't even seen me. He just said, "Aaron, the only reason why I'm talking to you is I saw your credentials and everything. By your credentials, I know you're fully qualified to do it. I just wanted to hear your accent to make sure you didn't have some crazy accent or
Like
something."
me, like my Cuban ass, right?
Actually, you would probably be hired, no
Okay.
problem.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 That's good to know, just in case, right?
Yeah,
in case Lambo runs the whole show into the ground, right? I have to. I can go teach some people.
yeah. Be careful of Lambo.
Yeah.
Be careful. Um, but he hired me, and the very next day, I was online teaching.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I still teach the majority of my hours. I teach 18 hours a week with Mike, but
Okay.
I have my own private students. I have about 5 hours of private students. I actually teach a guy from Saudi Arabia. I teach a student from New Delhi, India.
Okay.
So I've got clients all over the world, but most of my students, like you asked, are Mexican here in Mexico through English Inc. We teach we teach people who work for international corporations here in Mexico, not just in Querétaro, but we have contracts with multiple companies here in Querétaro. In fact, I have classes. If you ever go into Banco Santander, you might be dealing with one of my students that I'm teaching. That I'm teaching them English.
No, that's cool, man.
Uh,
Yeah.
on top of teaching English, I also do translation,
Okay.
English to German, German to English, and Hebrew to English, and English to Hebrew. I spent 2 years in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and in Jerusalem, in many, many, many moons ago. Uh, the thing here in Mexico, they have a respect for human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do not treat people like cattle.
Right.
I have never, and this is as God is my witness, I have never been stopped by any cop um, in my in my entire 12 years and 3 months here in Mexico. One time, the tourist bus I was I was on my way home to Juchitán. I had been on vacation in San Cristobal de las Casas down in Chiapas. And we were within 2 hours of the Mexican Guatemalan
Mm.
border. So immigration had set up a roadblock
Yeah.
to check the buses and everything that was going through. And the only thing I had to do was show them they came through the bus. Please show us your ID. They took it, they looked at it, they gave it back, they got off, and except for that, I have never been stopped by any police here in Mexico. The few times I've had to stop myself and go over and ask for help, couldn't have been nicer people than they're almost like your best friends.
Yeah, yeah, they're public servants. They're really there to serve the public and help you out and be, that's what they're there for. Here at least, and I know in the USA they're supposed to do that, but they're there to do other things these days. I want to, I just, thought of something. I wasn't planning on asking you this because I didn't even think about it, but a question that a lot of people always have is about residency. And well, you've been here 12 years. And so how did you get your residency? Because you said you never went back to the USA. And so obviously you never went through a consulate. So, how did you get your residency, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah.
Not a problem, but just wait 1 second.
Sure.
Let me get my residency card so we can at least show that I'm.
Well, be careful. Don't give the, what is it? Like cover up the whatever. Don't show all your information on there. So.
Okay. Well,
we'll believe you. We believe you, man. Don't worry about it. We know that you're there legally.
Okay.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Well, this is when I came.
Yeah.
Back when I came, you could come directly into Mexico with a 180-day tourist.
Right.
But unlike today, where you have to leave the country and come back to change your status. In those days, if you got a job here in Mexico, you didn't have to go to the consulate outside the country and come back. You could go directly to immigration and have it changed right there in the immigration office. Here in Mexico.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, during COVID and, still today, they changed it again to make it easy again. So now, again, by the way, many people out there, they're, stressing out about having to go on a visa run. Listen, you can just go to the immigration office and get it renewed, just like you did. But in your case, it was a work visa or, again, a work permit, because you were here working, right?
And this is something, and I know you have talked about your lawyer and your friend Jose Novello. The situation is people are stressing out about this financial bullshit. Excuse my language.
No, it's okay. No, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, because again, people stress out over that so much. Again, and it's like, listen, man, there's a bunch of ways to get residency. Go ahead.
That is only one of the ways to get residency. One of the ways you can get residency is you come to Mexico, you decide what you want to do. For me, it was teaching.
Right.
You get a school or a university or whatever it is to sponsor you. Once you're now you then have to leave and come back.
Yeah.
But back in my day, they just gave me the paperwork. I went. You don't have to go nuts about these the financial route is
you're basically buying your just buying your residency. That's really what it is. Or again, for people that do again, you have you can prove that you have a lot of money according to Mexico, then yeah, they'll just give you residency. Of course they want rich immigrants in Mexico. Look, and even for me, when I went to go, again, I got married, and that's how I got my residency. But I had another option, which was, again, get sponsored by somebody. I actually had to, go and get a job, and I was gonna do that, just in case, the marriage thing didn't work out. But thank God that the marriage thing worked out, and it was the best thing ever for me. But yeah, no, if that wouldn't have worked out, I mean, I already had somebody lined up, that had, a business, and I was just gonna go work for them, what I'm saying, like, really, work for them. But it's not like you got to work for them like 40 hours a week and have all these stringent, no, whatever. You could just be, on paper and just work for them a few hours, whatever, just to meet the requirements.
You know, it was easy. That's one thing about Mexico. Right. Mexico is easy peasy to. By the way, back in my day, the head of the school that was sponsoring me, his wife was Mexican. Again, he was a Canadian, but his wife was Mexican, who spoke fluent English. So she just came with me to immigration, and it took 3 visits back then. Because back then they didn't have all the electronic doohickeys they have now.
No, but look, again, Mexico already. The bureaucracy out here. It's which, by the way, it's a good thing if you know what you're looking for here. But yeah, I mean, trust me. When I went to just register my car, I had to make like 15 trips. Okay, so back and forth. And all these other stuff. So yeah, no, I mean, bureaucracy here is a little lacking. But again, it depends on who you ask for. If you're asking you and me, it's a good thing. It's a benefit. But yeah, but like, go ahead.
Yeah, I went the 3 times.
Yeah.
They handed me my temporary residency. 4 years later, I come back, pay, I think it was like 4,000 pesos back in those days. I don't know what it is today.
Yeah, it's a little more than that, but it's still not much. It's not.
I pay it. And I have my permanent residency. And the great thing about Mexico is, once you have permanent residency, it's permanent.
That's right.
You don't have to go back to immigration ever unless you lose your ID.
Right.
Then you have to go back. You have to pay about 3,500 pesos. Get a replacement card. But except for that, you could have a 60-year-old ID. You could be an old man with hair like mine. And I mean, Mexico wants people.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's another misconception a lot of people have about Mexico. Mexico is pretty diverse as well. There's a lot of immigrants that come from all over the world that come to Mexico. I mean, again, it's not as diverse as the USA, but it's pretty close. It's pretty there. And again, like what you were saying about the permanent residency, like I got mine, a couple years ago, and I can literally have that ID forever. You know what I mean? Like I could, like 25 years down the line, it's like the same ID, same residency. I don't have to upgrade. And the only upgrade, I would be to become a citizen. And that's not with immigration. That's with another department. I forgot what the department is. I got to do a video on all that.
That's with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or whatever it's called here in Mexico.
But that would be the only thing. So once you get your permanent residency, you'll never have to go to the immigration office ever again unless you lose your ID. And then after that, if you want to become a citizen, which again for some people, like I want to get my citizenship so I can get my Mexican passport and all that stuff. That's a completely different story. But it's similar to, I think, getting your citizenship in the USA, meaning you got to like take a test. So you gotta have some knowledge, on Mexico, speak some Spanish, whatever.
Actually, I'm starting. This might be something interesting to some people. I'm starting. There is a facilitating group here in Querétaro that actually will facilitate teaching you the things you need to know to become a Mexican citizen.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I might be interested in something like that because
And
yeah.
I'm starting that
Okay.
next month
Okay.
because let me put it this way. The minute I get my Mexican passport, I am gonna have a ceremony. I might actually ask you to run it on your channel. Uh, I'm going to set the American passport
Yeah.
on fire and drop it.
How about this? How about this? Don't be asking. Don't be giving them reasons to to pay you a visit. Okay? They might. No, but hey, I want to ask you a question. So you never had to renew your U.S. passport, right? You don't even want to step in a U.S. embassy, right? To even or U.S. consulate or anything like that, right? Okay, okay. Now look,
And one additional thing,
okay,
um, because of the what I consider political persecution in the United States, I've actually gone. I went one additional time after I got my permanent residency.
okay,
I got a friend of mine who also is an immigration lawyer, like your friend, and I went and I told them my story, and they said, "How many more years do you have on your American passport?" And I said, "I have about a year and a half left on my passport." They said they started a case
okay,
on my situation, and they said, when your passport expires, you don't have to worry.
okay,
Just keep your ID and come here to the Querétaro here where we have your records, and you don't even have to have a passport anymore inside Mexico. When you do, if you just want to live here for the rest of your life, we've got your records.
wow.
You're good to go.
Wow, that's
If,
amazing. Yeah, so basically almost like asylum, right? I mean, basically political asylum in a
yeah,
sense. Wow. Okay.
basically,
Wow.
I've been granted a form of
Yeah, yeah,
asylum
yeah.
here in Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's super cool, man. That's actually really cool. I might have to talk to you about that a little bit further later on. That's really really cool. I was gonna ask you. Okay. Oh yeah. By the way, so something I wanted to tell the audience. So even though I got a facilitator, Jose Novello, or you can talk to Stephanie, or there's tons of other facilitators, not just here in Merida, but all over Mexico that can help you, do all this stuff. The reality is that you can do this all on your own. This is why I'm always trying to provide as
I
much
did
information.
most of this on my
Right.
own with the help of the company that hired me at the time. But except for because he happened to be a friend of mine,
Right.
he did it for me for nothing.
Right.
He brought me and he did what had to be done. But generally, even if you know no Spanish at all,
Okay.
you can do this. It's not super complicated.
Right. That's good to know because again, a lot of people again they just they freak out. The USA, unfortunately, everybody's freak the hell out. All the time. So yeah, again, like you said, at least with you, you had a friend that spoke Spanish. You know what I mean? They just kind of helped you, to make it easier. Less bumps, along the road. I spoke Spanish myself. I was able to do all of it myself. On my end. But for anyone out there, meaning long story short, you can just get somebody to help you speak Spanish. You know what I mean? And that's it. You know what I mean? And just it's bureaucracy. At the end of the day, it's gonna suck. Just like going to the DMV. It's like it's things that nobody wants to do. But it's not anything that's impossible or hard. Really that hard to do. Right. Yeah.
And something else. In a lot of the immigration offices, they usually have at least one person who speaks English.
Okay. That's good. That's good to know. I never even because I've only been to the immigration office a few handful of times to just do my own thing, and again, just speaking Spanish, it's just whatever.
And well,
Okay,
since
that's
you
good.
speak Spanish, you didn't need to know.
Right. But that's good to know that there is at least one person in there to speak some English, and that's another thing too. A lot of misconceptions. A lot of Mexicans speak English. I mean, again, they might not be perfect English, but a lot of them do. You know what I mean? Which is pretty interesting. Yeah.
I have well, close friends here in Mexico, um, close Mexican friends. I have maybe 7 or 8, and all of them speak English.
That's cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's great.
And as an example, my landlord, he speaks pretty good
Yeah.
English as well. So don't be afraid to look around and see if you. I mean, I have been in a store where, for some reason, I couldn't understand the Mexican Spanish lingo that was being, and right behind me, a Mexican guy came forward and said, "Hey, can I help you with
Yeah,
this?"
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, it's not just that, people speak English, but people are nice, you know what I mean? Instead of just watching you, burn, why don't you just sink the ship, you know what I mean? Like you don't know what's going on. No, someone will step in and just kind of help you along or whatever it is. And in fact, look, my landlord, has a bunch of properties and like, they don't speak any English, okay? They're older, and still, you know what I mean? Like, I got people that, rent from them and they don't speak any Spanish, and they get along just fine. They'll use, like, the little Google Translate, or they use this device, the thing that I have, I did a video
Yeah,
on,
absolutely.
but long story short, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not, it's if there's a will, there's a way. By the way, I got a question from the audience, and by the way, anyone out there that has any questions, please, by all means, go ahead and ask, ask questions, and we'll try to answer them, as we go along, and we'll do a little question, Q&A a little later. So Wilfred is asking, do you have a YouTube channel?
No, I don't.
Okay. And then he also is asking me, do you get paid in dollars or in pesos? That's an interesting question. I'm guessing pesos, right? Because you're working in Mexico, right?
The thing is, I was interviewed, and actually, I hope you don't mind. Can I mention whatever?
Yeah. You can say anything you want, man. Yeah.
There is a guy by the name of Dan.
Okay.
He has a channel called Vagabond Awake.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of him. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
He actually interviewed me as well.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
As you know, Dan travels the world.
Yeah.
I luckiest guy alive if you've ever seen his girlfriend. He's 62.
Okay.
His girlfriend, who he met 8 years ago, is 35.
Wow. Okay. You're a lucky guy.
But the
question was, do you get paid in pesos or in dollars? That was,
yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I get paid in pesos.
Okay.
By the guy Mike, who I work for.
Okay. Yeah.
But I, with the peso basically in ascendancy right now.
Getting stronger, correct.
Yeah. And by the way, everything Jose has said, the US dollar will be lucky one day to even be equal with the peso sometime in the future. How long, we don't know. But yeah, most of my income is in pesos.
Okay, cool.
And actually, I have actually asked my other students to pay me in pesos now.
Yeah.
Because as the dollar is going down, it makes no sense to be paid in dollars.
Yeah. Look, even myself, you know what I mean? By the way, announcement, going forward, I'm charging in pesos as well. Obviously, you can pay me in whatever currency, dollars, euros, whatever. But at the end of the day, my one-on-one consultations, I'm putting them in pesos because this is, every day I'm getting a pay cut. You know what I mean? It's like, no. Hey, wait a minute. I don't want no more dollars. I don't want any of those dirty dollars. I can't use them out here anyway. So what do I need them for? But with that said, okay, so you've always gotten paid in pesos, so you've been great, when it comes to for the mostly pesos. But okay, so now to the next question, this question I had for you. Okay, so how many pesos do you need, or how many dollars, or equivalent? How much money do you need to live comfortably in Mexico? Because again, again, a lot of misconceptions out there. You need all these thousands of dollars.
People, when I went on with Dan. And I told them what I needed. People came on and basically called me a liar. And this was way back last July, just about a month before we did our interview. There has been a slight increase in my rent since then. But basically, believe it or not, my rent is 3,500 pesos a month.
Wow. Yeah. No, I believe it. No, trust me. Anyways, I got single friends that live out here, and they pay around that too. So.
I have a small apartment. There's my bedroom.
You're in a room in your apartment, correct? It's not just a room. You have like a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, or?
I have a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bath.
Okay.
With a living room, dining room, a large sala.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
4 rooms and 1.5 bathrooms.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, come on, come on. It's like, you can't get nothing for 3,500 pesos in the U.S. I mean, if you want to just get a box under a bridge, it's going to be more than 3,500 pesos in the U.S.
Yeah. The last time I did the evaluation to U.S. dollars, it came out to $215.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah. I mean, my rent for a 2-bedroom house, a house, okay, with a big backyard, front yard, where I can fit my truck in there, the whole thing. I'm paying 5,500 pesos, and I'm probably going to get a rent increase the next time that I had to sign to whatever, but it's 500 pesos. That's it. No more than that. Not like in the USA where people are getting $500 rent increases. You know what I mean? No, here's just, 500 pesos, which is what, 30 bucks, So... So yeah, what are your expenses, give or take? You know what I mean? Again, you don't have to be super specific.
Give or take, this includes just about everything, including haircuts. Well, I've got a young guy down here on Boulevard Las Americas here in Querétaro. He does 110 peso haircuts. I would say my entire expenses is somewhere between $725 and $750 a month for one person. That includes everything, including going out to eat, and including transportation, including everything.
Yeah. And look at my expenses again, for me, my wife, my dog, the house, the everything. It's like 1,000, 1,500. I always kind of like shoot upwards, you know what I mean? Just, just in case. But yeah, like 1,000, 1,500 bucks, and the reality is that like if we had to, we can live on 1,000 or less, you know what I mean? Like no problem. And out here, because look, where you live, you don't have to have air conditioner, meaning that's like a big expense for me. Right now, I got to have the air conditioner on because it's like 90 degrees outside, so it's like...
The thing is, the hottest it's ever been here in Querétaro was 35 degrees Celsius in the dog days of summer. In the middle of the last 2 weeks in July or the first 2 weeks in August.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean...
Still nice.
Really?
It's nice. Yeah. 35 degrees here is like spring, I mean, well, no, how about this? We're in spring now, and it's like 40 degrees. And by the way, we're talking about Celsius here. So, what's 35 degrees? Yeah, 35 degrees, like 85 or something.
For all the Americans who don't understand Celsius.
But yeah, it's like 85 degrees, give or take, right? Tops, 80, 85 degrees
Yeah,
Fahrenheit. And yeah, for
yeah,
me,
that's
80.
absolute tops.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
80 or 85 for me, that's like winter, during the day. But usually it's up where I live, it's in the 90s or 100 degrees. But again, I
Um,
got the beach, I live in a tropical environment. It's very different, it's like South Florida.
in
Yeah.
in winter time, the coldest it can get here is around 12 to 13 in the middle of the night.
Which is
So
Celsius, right? 12 Celsius
yeah,
or okay.
yeah.
And that's how long, how much is that in Fahrenheit? Because now you lost me because I don't. It's like
Uh 10 is 50 degrees.
50 degrees. Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
freezing for me.
So
Yeah.
it gets, maybe the lowest it'll get is about 55.
Wow. Okay, but that's
Uh,
nice. So that's really nice. Honestly, that's really nice weather. Yeah.
so I have a little space heater
Yeah.
that is on a thermostat. So if the temperature goes below a certain degree, it turns on and just heats up. I don't heat up any other room but my bedroom.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so the average temperature in Querétaro would be somewhere around 50, 55 degrees, right? Fahrenheit to like 75 degrees, give or take. So it's really nice, right? I mean, basically like Southern California almost, huh?
Uh yeah,
Yeah.
more or
Yeah,
less.
yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, that's nice. Yeah, yeah, because it gets cold in California too, in LA. Yeah, people don't know because remember it's in the desert, So like, yeah, it can actually get pretty. I mean, not
Well,
freezing
if
cold, but
if you want cold,
Yeah.
just 3 hours up the road
Okay.
in San Luis Potosi. San Luis is right on where the city of San Luis is only about an hour before you officially get into the Sonoran Desert.
Okay. Okay.
That's as far south as the desert goes.
Okay.
And if you're in San Luis Potosi in the wintertime, it can get very close to zero.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's another thing too, because a lot of people, even me included, I didn't know much about Mexico. I just thought, Cancun, the desert, whatever. But then when I moved out here, it's like, oh wow, what I mean? This has like, all the environments. There's places. In fact, one of the coldest places in Mexico, which snows, okay, is Arteaga. My last name. In fact, I mean Querétaro. I think Querétaro's right, called Querétaro de Arteaga or something like that, or. But long story short, there's places that snow. There's places, that have the really
Oh
cold,
yeah.
really hot. There's jungle, there's mountains. There's everything.
You want cold.
Yeah.
You want cold. Just go to Puebla.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Pueblo's cold. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I remember.
Puebla
Yeah.
in wintertime, it snows in Puebla.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, we definitely got to go out there. I got to see. Christian's never seen snow, so I got to take her out to see snow one day. So that's cool. Okay. Oh, yeah. That'll give us a reason to go to Puebla.
During summertime, it's great weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
And during the day in winter, it can get up to 18, 19 degrees.
Okay. Nice.
But
Celsius.
because Puebla is actually is higher in the mountains than Mexico City.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. And you're right now in Querétaro. You're up in the mountains, right? You're up.
We're at 6,300 feet here.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's cool. Okay. All right, man. All right. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess let's take a few questions. Well, anyways, do you have anything else you wanted to share? So, okay, you talked about your job. You talked about residency. We talked about, okay, how about this? Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask. So how much have things changed, since you moved there, again, 12 years ago? Because, look, I got friends of mine, not just you, but other people that have been here, in Mexico for many years or that travel back and forth, come here a lot. And it's funny because, they'll tell me, when they came out here 10, 12 years ago that the dollar, was 1 to 10, right? $1 we give you 10 pesos or 11 pesos or whatever it was. And because people complain right now, about 1 to 16, they're like, oh, I want it to be 1 to 20 or 1 to 25. Because by the way, the higher the number, the more you get back. You know what I mean? Meaning, the more value, out of that dollar.
Uh-huh.
Right. But the reality
Uh-huh.
is that, the dollar is not that valuable, same as other currencies around the world, because, they've been printing it into oblivion. Again, that's not what we're talking about here. But, Mexico's currency is getting stronger for many other reasons. So as Mexico's currency gets stronger and as the dollar, keeps losing value, well, I predict, that it's just going to keep, what is it? It's going to keep dropping, meaning that we're going to probably get back to 1 to 10 at some point, right? So anyway, but tell us how it
Maybe
was.
even worse. Who knows?
Yeah, or worse. Yeah, 100%. You know what I mean? So, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, but in the meantime, but anyway, so yeah, tell us how it was. When you first got here, because it was said it was like 1 to 10, 1 to 11, right? And were things more expensive? Were things more difficult or whatever? Guide us through that a little bit.
Well, let's put it this way. When I arrived here, it was 1 to 11 and a half, roughly.
Okay.
People who are complaining about the prices now, you should have been here when I first arrived. It was not too long after that when Peña Nieto became president.
Okay.
And that was a man who understood nothing about economics. He printed the Mexican peso almost into oblivion. It hit as high as almost 20, it got up to 24 something.
Wow. Okay.
Under Mr. Peña Nieto.
Wow. Okay. I had no idea. Yeah. Okay. That's wow. That's a lot. Yeah. I mean, a big change, a big drastic change. I mean, yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, it went from 11.5 to the dollar to 24 point something to the dollar. I mean, more than 10.
Yeah, and so again,
really.
yeah, and so since you were getting paid in pesos, as it increased, well, that was not good for you, right? I mean, if you were getting in dollars, it was great, but if you were just getting paid in pesos, well, you were losing value at that time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now as it's dropping again, you know what I mean? Like, well, now those pesos are
We're
worth
getting,
more.
we're getting value back,
Right.
big time.
Right. So
Big
yeah,
time.
so again, the typical Mexican that knows what's up, they're happy. You know what I mean? They wanted to keep dropping. You know what I mean? They wanted to, yeah.
I'm please, Federal Reserve, turn the printing presses on and forget to shut them off. Let them go forever, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, this looks like that's what they're doing. So it doesn't seem like they're going to be stopping anytime soon. So okay, so yeah, so long story short, you know what I mean? It was more difficult back when you first arrived.
Yeah. The thing is that the Mexican people, for my whole 12 plus years I've been here, you couldn't find the kindest, nicest. The Mexican people never change. The Mexican national character never changes. As long as you are not harming them, their family, or their friends, they want to be friendly. They want to make new friends. I mean, you ask for help. By the way, the apartment I'm living in now, when I came back to Querétaro, I was staying at an Airbnb, and it took me 2 months to find this place. But what happened was I was going out to look at an apartment, and I got an Uber driver, And the Uber driver spoke very good English, and he said, "Wait a minute." And he started calling friends up on his phone. And it took about another 3 days, but and I was paying him, of course. Uh, but that's how I got my apartment.
Okay, yeah, through
Now
a friend.
this guy didn't know me from Adam. Uh, his name is Eric. I won't give the full name, but his name is Eric. He's now one of my best friends.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? That's you're gonna be surprised, with how many people. And look, when I came to Mexico at first, again, I'm just a typical American. I came out here and I was taken aback. I was like, whoa, how people were just so nice, so helpful, so receptive, so everything. And I was like, all right, what are these people up to? What do they want from me? What are they, like I'm always thinking because I'm from, a bad part of town back in the USA. So I'm always thinking, people are too nice, right? That they're after something. But the reality is that no, you know what I mean? After being here many years, no, people are just super nice and people very super helpful. If they're not nice to you, if there's a lot of Mexicans that are not nice to you, it has a lot more to do with you. You know what I mean? So but the reality is that Mexicans, they go out of their way to be nice, to be helpful. Yeah.
Let me add this. Coming from a English speaking country, English culture by nature, we are taught to be a little bit suspicious of people.
Okay.
That's just part of the nature of the beast. Well, the opposite is true in Spanish cultures.
Yeah, correct.
By nature, Spanish speaking people, now Mexico is maybe a little more than a little more, but generally, I have lived in Honduras. I have lived in the Dominican Republic, and it's very similar. Spanish speaking people, I call them the happy go lucky people of the world.
Yeah. But look, I mean, with all that
They
being
may
said,
not
yeah,
have
yeah,
as much as, at least materially,
yeah.
but as you say, they are rich in other ways.
Yeah, yeah, and look, I'm gonna tell you, man. Look, I mean, I'm from Miami. A lot of Latinos. Seen it all in that sense. But there's something special about Mexican people and the Mexican culture and just Mexico in general. I feel like the people here are just nicer. Everything's just like I don't know, friendlier here for some reason. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean, like I said before, no plans on moving or going anywhere.
maybe to another part of Mexico, right? That's about it.
Uh, uh, might, but I think I've settled here in Querétaro.
Okay, so since you brought that up, okay, what? Okay, and you've lived in other parts of Mexico. What makes Querétaro so awesome? Because I got my reasons. I talk about it on my channel why I love living where I live. But why is Querétaro awesome? You know what I mean? It's like sell me Querétaro. You got the floor.
Why Querétaro is so awesome? It's just a mixture of the modern and the traditional here. I mean, we have the aqueducto, which if you look at the city symbol of Querétaro, it's the aqueducto. It runs right through the middle of the city.
And what is that again? That's the aqueduct. Is that like the traditional aqueduct, like they have in Roman times? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it was for more than 150 years the main source of water supply for the city. But they fixed it up, and now it's a monument. It runs right through You go to El Centro. I mean, the restaurants here in, like I said, I haven't been to Merida, so I don't know your scene in Merida, but we have Oriental restaurants here in town. The best Oriental food I've eaten in my life.
And
We have,
that's coming from New York. I mean, well, up in the upper Northeast, right? They have, yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Wow.
Well, just a little aside, where my parents' home was, within 25 miles, we had more than 100 different ethnic type restaurants you could go to.
Wow.
Pick any ethnic group, and I've probably eaten that
Wow.
in one of those restaurants. So I'm a spoiled brat when it comes to
Yeah.
food.
And so in Querétaro, there's a lot of variety when it comes to all that, right? I mean,
Oh,
awesome. Okay.
more than you can shake a
Wow. Okay.
stick at.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Um, uh, my favorite is a gourmet uh, Italian restaurant. Uh, Fiumi 37
Okay.
is the name of the restaurant. As a chef, you would their their creamy pumpkin, cream of pumpkin soup, you would die for.
All right. So go check out that restaurant if you're in Querétaro, all right? What's it called again?
Fiume, Fiume 37.
Nice, nice, nice. And again, not just Italian, not just Asian, but all kinds of. Again, just going back to the fact of like there's a lot of immigrants that have moved to Mexico throughout the years, and they've settled here in Mexico, and again, it reflects heavily in the food. You know what I mean? That's how you really get to see, because everyone always thinks, oh, Mexico's just tacos, and things like that. But no, no, it's a lot more than that. There's a lot.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh, it is the you would be surprised what you will find in different places in Mexico. Just as another aside, um, go to San Cristobal de las Casas.
Okay.
Uh, it has the best Italian restaurant in all of Mexico.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. Yeah.
And there is a Thai restaurant, believe it or not.
Wow.
Of all places,
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna
in the
say. Yeah.
middle of Chiapas, at 8,000 feet in the air. Um, it's called Bangkok,
Okay.
like Bangkok,
Yeah.
but it's Bangkok,
Awesome.
Bangkook.
Okay. Awesome.
Uh,
Awesome.
best, the best Thai food in Mexico.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, in San Cristobal, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, that's cool. So, so more on Querétaro. So the food is awesome. The weather is awesome. Again, you got a rental. You basically have a pretty nice big apartment there. For 3,500 pesos. I mean, what else? You know what I mean? Like, by the way, before you answer that, I want to give a shout out to Rob Borland out there and O. Both of them, sending, $18, 18 Canadian dollars super chat and a $10, 10 Canadian dollar super chat. Hold on, let's do the little sound effects, everybody.
Oh, by the way,
Thank
I
you guys.
told Rob we would be on today. So
Awesome. Shout out to
that's
Rob.
why-
Yeah. Rob lives out here in Merida, so shout out to him and his wife. Hi guys. I haven't seen you guys in a while. Shout out to both of you guys. So, but yeah, so back to what we were saying. So, Okay, so the weather's awesome. Rent for for an apartment is relatively cheap, right? The food is great. What else? You're centralized. You're basically right close to the Mexico City. What else makes it so awesome there that you love it so much that you don't want to leave?
Um, in general, go to the downtown. There are so many museums about the local history, and I'm an hour and 15 minutes by bus from San Miguel de Allende, the as you know the very famous expat haven in Guanajuato.
Okay.
Uh, I'm 2 hours, 2.5 hours from Guanajuato City.
Wow. Okay.
Um, you want to pick up a leather jacket, and I mean an awesome leather jacket for next to nothing. You go to Leon,
Okay.
Guanajuato, which is known as, ask any Mexican, oh yeah, the leather city. Uh, I picked up this leather jacket, now it's 7 years ago,
Wow.
but I'm when I picked it up, it translated into a brown leather jacket for $62.
Wow, wow, yeah, wow, that's crazy. That's awesome, man. Yeah, like real leather, like real 100% leather. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah,
great, man. Yeah.
100% leather, not the
Okay.
fake crap
So,
that
so
Sears.
basically, so okay, so I don't know. I don't want to assume, but I'm guessing you don't have a car in in Querétaro. You don't own one.
No, it's so cheap to get around. I'm not paying more money for
No,
gas.
yeah, I totally get it. I mean, look, the reason I got the truck is because, again, Christian, and her paints, and like, all the artist stuff. And, there's, pueblos that we want to go to the beach, things like that. We use it for different things. But I totally get it because I very rarely use the truck. I go out on the truck, like maybe once a week, if that. Sometimes I gotta just go out there and turn it on because I use it so little. And out here, again, we just got Ubers and Didis. We got buses. There's, I walk, bike around a lot. So what about public transportation in Querétaro? How's that? Do you have like mass transit there? I mean, besides the buses.
We have what is called the Q-Row bus, which
Okay.
is the public transport system
Okay.
here. I've used it a few times. It works very well. It is dirt cheap. I mean, like 50, 60 pesos.
Okay.
Uh, almost nothing.
But is that a bus that just get you around town, or is that like a bus to take you to to all the other areas? Like they're hours away.
No, that's just around town.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, because like my bus out here is like 10, 12 pesos or something like that. So okay.
Um, ex- well, excuse me. Um, it's not. I was thinking of something else.
Okay, okay,
It's 15 pesos
okay,
to
okay,
go anywhere you need to go on the Q-Row bus.
okay.
But you can use the taxis here. I mean, um, I use the taxi when I have a lot of groceries. It costs me 50 pesos.
Wow. Okay.
I have like 5 bags of groceries
Yeah, yeah,
and myself, and I can for a 10-minute ride, so I'm not lugging all that stuff.
yeah,
Uh, 50 pesos
yeah. Which is
to
like $3 US, give or take.
yeah
Yeah. Okay.
yeah to go
Okay.
home.
So do you have Uber and Didi and whatever other things out there
Yeah,
too, or no?
yeah, we have Uber
Okay.
and we have all those
Okay. Do you have like
things.
trains and stuff like that? Because we're going. So we're planning our trip to go to Guadalajara, and there's like this huge train that goes throughout the city. We can't wait to ride it and take it around and stuff like that. Do you guys have things like that there too, or no, or just the buses and
We don't. We used to.
Okay.
Mexico used to have a huge train
Yeah.
network.
No, but in the
Um,
city, like nothing in the city. No.
no,
Okay, just the
no,
buses, Ubers, taxis. Do
yeah.
people bike and walk? Well, I'm guessing they walk a lot as well. But do they have like bikes? Because I know like the elevation. Sometimes it can get a little tricky. Out here, it's easy to bike because it's flat.
Uh, it depends upon where you live in the city. If you live out where near where I live, it's a little hilly. So people usually walk more than they use
Okay.
bikes. But if you live in the downtown is totally flat.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
So if you live in the downtown, most people ride bikes in the downtown.
Yeah, and so just to finish that thought, on transportation. So you don't need a car. You really don't need a car. A car is kind of like having a car in New York City. It's more like a luxury. Sometimes it's more of a pain in the ass, and things like that. You know what I mean? So like it's the same thing, kind of like in Mexico, most places. Not everywhere. I know some places you do need a car, but for the most part, where you are, same as where I'm at, you really don't need a car. You can just get around
No,
just fine with all the public transport. And then when you go visit, all these other areas, when you go to Puebla, Mexico City, San Luis Potosi, wherever, you basically just take the
uh,
bus. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
well, as an example, the cheapest transport to go from here to San Miguel de Allende, like I said, it's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's like 200 pesos
Yeah, yeah, which is like 12 bucks.
one
You know what I
way.
mean? Yeah, yeah, that's nothing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
To go from Mexico City to San Luis Potosi, which is a 5 hour trip by
Yeah.
bus, it'll cost you like 1,200 pesos.
Okay, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. So it's relatively cheap. It's not really that bad. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. Yeah.
And it's not that it's not only cheap, but on most of the major bus lines here in Mexico, you have ultra, ultra, you have seats that actually not only do you have the back that goes back, but your front goes up with your legs, and they give you a sandwich with a botana with it and a drink, and it's all, and you have earphones
Yeah.
where you can listen to music, or they put on a movie like you were were in an airline.
Yeah, yeah, but actually a really comfortable ride. Other airlines, planes can get dicey. Like when it comes to comfort. But yeah, like the buses out here, amazing. In fact, they're like super high end luxury, kind of transports. Because again, in the U.S. we're used to like Greyhounds, which are like, Jesus, it's like terrible.
No comment.
Yeah, so no, no, but out here, the buses are amazing, because people take buses all the time, from Cancun to Merida or from Merida to other parts of Mexico, and yeah, it's relatively as comfortable as it can get, for riding a bus. Again, by the way, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Chef Boy again for the $10 super chat, and Rohim the World, for $10 super chat as well. Shout out to both of you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Which is gracias. All right. Hold on. Let's do one more. Sorry. Hopefully it didn't blow your speakers. Sorry. I got the sound.
No problem.
Let me see. I know there's some questions. Some people were asking me a few questions. By the way, so
Go ahead.
if you guys have questions, now's the time. Let's just go into. By the way, is there anything else you want to talk about or anything you want to mention?
Only that to the expats listening. We talked about this in my last interview with you, but I think it's important to reiterate. Do not listen to the expert expats. And what I mean by the expert expats It's the people who tell you that you have to spend 8, 9, 10,000, 20,000 pesos a month to live in Mexico.
Right.
Um,
No, you mean, well, no, well, we spend, how much do we spend? Well, I mean, well, no, hold on, let's get the right numbers right. Because, like, for example, because, like, 750 would be, how many pesos is that?
uh,
$750, yeah, 700, that's what you said you spent. So $750 would be like 15,000 pesos or something? You mean
it
rent?
would
You mean
be
rent? That don't, yeah, rent. You know, there's someone that's saying rent at 10,000
rent.
pesos, right?
My rent is 3,500 pesos,
Yeah.
which comes out to 215
Right.
to $220
So yeah,
a
so I guess you know, just to reiterate, yeah, because we don't want to confuse people with the numbers
yeah.
out there. Remember, people are still with
Um,
dollars or what in Canadian dollars.
so
So long story short,
that's
yeah, anyone that says you got to spend, you know, $2,000 to $3,000 to live out here, you know, no, you don't need. Again, you can
you.
spend whatever you want, but the reality is that you can live very comfortably, you know, like around 1,500, maybe $2,000, I guess. You know, if you got a family,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, yeah,
For me, I typically spend under $1,000 a month to live here, and that's my preference because I cook more at home.
right,
I don't go out. I go out at least once a week. Sometimes, if I really splurge, it's twice a week I go out. But I don't go back. I don't go out to the huge expat restaurants. There's a seafood restaurant that serves seafood, but the style of cooking is from
okay,
Veracruz.
yeah, yeah.
The most expensive one I ever did there was shrimp and rice with a huge glass of Jamaica um, with French fries, and it cost me 245 pesos, including tip.
Yeah, so that's like $15 or less, you know what I mean? And that's when you're having, you
Yeah,
know, seafood. But yeah, you know what I mean? Relatively, you know, even us, you know what I mean? Like, again, for both of us, you know, we're spending around that a day, you know what I mean? Give or take, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you know, what, I mean, look, for tonight, what we're having for tonight, because I'm busy, you know, I got another live stream later. By the way, please, we'll talk about that later. But anyways, but, you know, I got a really busy day today. You know, Christian's busy as well. You know, so I just, you know, when I was at the store, you know, or yesterday, I was like, all right, I picked up some steaks, you know, so we're having T-bones, you know, some baked potatoes, you know, some vegetables. And I was like, you know, what am I spending? Like $15, you know, for 2 T-bones, you know, for all this, you know, it's like, you know, it's nothing, you know what I mean? Like, it's, so yeah, you know, out here, you know, you can live, you know what I mean, like very frugally, and you can live very, very well. It's just that,
the
yeah,
other day, I decided I didn't want to cook, so I walked down to the end of my block, and there is well, it's a sit down, but it's street sit down for tacos. I had beefsteak tacos with peppers and onions and some melted Oaxaca cheese. And I had 15 tacos with 2 bottles of Pepsi.
oh, geez, man, you were hungry.
Bruh.
Well, I ate. You know what my breakfast was a cheese sandwich
And you
with
had breakfast, and you had breakfast earlier. Jeez, man, you eat more than me. I mean, I'm just busting your balls, bro. Whatever. But yeah,
for some reason I was starving.
yeah, yeah. Well, how much was all that? How
Uh,
much are the 15 tacos and the 2 Pepsis, man? How much is
how about 156
Oh, jeez,
pesos?
man. Yeah, I might be moving to Querétaro, man. It seems like it's cheaper over there. So okay, okay. Let's just get into some questions, all right? Let's just before we keep going, you know,
Yeah,
because I know
let's
we're gonna
go.
keep going. I know people already chiming in with some questions. So, all right, let me see. Okay, so Wilfredo says, do you have an INAPAM? Okay, INAPAM card? Is INAPAM card? Well, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't have one either. All
Well,
right.
an infam card,
Probably.
I
Yeah.
just put in, um, I
What's that? What
didn't
is
know
that?
about it until recently. It
Okay.
is a card when you are a little bit older,
Oh,
so
okay.
you can get special discounts
Ah.
through the Mexican government.
I got yeah. Well, you should be able to get it because because I got friends of mine out here. Again, you're older than you, and they're kind of integrated with the social system out here. And they're residents. You know what I mean? Like temporary, permanent residents. So yeah, so you should be able. I mean, yeah, if you want it, you could get it,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I just put in for it like 2 weeks ago. I'm supposed to pick it up next week.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right, so you get your senior discount, basically. I guess that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. Or they got student discounts, all that stuff. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I got another question. And by the way, so start asking questions again because just in case I know, you guys might have asked questions and they just went up in the chat, and so I just missed it, so I don't have to, get lost in the chat. So just ask it again if I missed it. So, anyways, okay, Joseph is asking, and I think we answered this already, but let's just give a brief, answer again. If you want a more detailed, you can go out and, check the rest of the
Okay.
video. But anyways, Joseph is saying. I want to know both of your opinions as far as a peso getting stronger. Are you against it or not against it? And explain your reasons behind it. So, look, for me, I earn in dollars, okay? And so, yeah, of course, I mean? Like the lower it drops, well, my dollars aren't worth as much. So, what I have done is that, well, now I'm just, charging in pesos and I'm integrating even further and further within, Mexican society. So, therefore, I have to rely less on dollars, or foreign currencies because, I'm going with the strong peso and I live in Mexico. So I'm just, going with that. So in my opinion, again, I live out here now and I consider myself, Mexican, I want to become a Mexican citizen. So I want Mexican, their economy to continue to get stronger. So as it continues to get stronger, obviously, the peso is going to get stronger as well. And that's going to be better for us. So, that's my opinion. All right. I see you have your hand up. All right. What do you think?
My hand is up and twirling. When I do that, ditto, 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 and
Yeah.
ditto.
Yeah.
If people don't know what ditto means, it means everything that Jose said, and let's double it.
Okay.
Um,
So, but
I'm
yeah.
I don't consider myself an American anymore.
Okay. Okay.
I consider myself a a Mexican as well.
Awesome.
Um, so I want the peso to out overrun the U.S. dollar like a stampede.
Yeah. And for you, I mean, remember, you're really integrated into Mexican, the Mexican economy and Mexican culture, but like really the economy. And so, you've been earning pesos for, a decade or more, you know what I mean? Over a decade. So for you,
Yeah,
the stronger the peso, the more
the better it
purchasing,
is
yeah,
for me.
the more purchasing power you have, the better it is for you, the better it is for all your neighbors, for everyone in Mexico. So again, so basically to answer the question for Joseph and everybody else out there. So for Mexico, they want the peso to get stronger. For any foreigner that's coming into Mexico and they are only earning in dollars or Canadian
That's
dollars or
their
whatever, yeah,
problem.
it's they don't want it to get stronger. So again, from the perspective of Mexico, yes, we want it to to get stronger. So yeah, so I think that about answers the question. All right, let me see. And I think there was a few more questions. Oh yeah, so Wilfred wants to know: do you live near Centro or are you further away?
I used to live closer to Centro, but to answer it directly, I'm on the border between Querétaro and the neighboring city of Corregidora. Actually,
Okay.
you don't even know the difference between the two. There's no signs or anything. They're so close and integrated. But I'm on the Querétaro side of the border there. I'm a 10-minute walk from Boulevard Las Americas,
Okay.
and to localize it even more for him, just down the street from where I am one side of the street is a bodega, the other side is a Soriana.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool, cool. All right. So yeah, so you got everything really close by. You live in a really great area, right? And it's you're in a good central area. I had somebody in the chat ask me. I couldn't find the question, but someone was asking me, where they can find other jobs, English teaching jobs that don't require, like a master's degree or any kind of degree. And so I'm gonna answer this one. Just go to my website, okay? joseadiaga.com. I'll provide the link right now. Just go to my website. But anyways, on my website, I have a list. I literally have a section, for digital nomad jobs, and on there, I got English teaching jobs and a bunch of other gig jobs that you can have.
Just very quickly, www.indeed.com.mx.
Okay. Okay, so I'm putting that as well. Indeed.com.mx. Or it might be /mx, whatever, but yeah, whatever it is. But anyways, I think it is Indeed.com. I'll double check here. But anyway, so what's there? What do they have there?
There they have every type of English job, teaching job you could possibly imagine.
Okay.
And they have it for all levels of just as at most language schools in Mexico, as long as you have any type of college degree whatsoever, and
or even if you don't have a degree or anything, could you still be able to get something?
Most of them. Are you a native speaker?
That's it.
Come on in.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because remember, there's all kinds of people out there, and they might have a degree in, whatever, I don't know, economics, whatever, you know what I mean? So but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, whether you got a degree or not. It's just basically, again, what we were talking about earlier. If you have a degree, you'll be able to get paid more. That's it. Other than that, you can still, find jobs, and there's plenty of jobs, and there's plenty of stuff out there.
Well, just as an example, if you look online, most English jobs are paid between 100 pesos an hour to the highest I've ever seen is 350 pesos an hour.
Nice.
The more education you have, and specifically if you are a native speaker, the better that pay range will be.
Awesome. Yeah, and the more experience as well, too. You know what I mean? Obviously, right? I mean, things like
that.
Oh,
yeah. I've been teaching so long. Yeah. They just look at the experience. They go to the highest level they'll pay.
Nice.
And they just say, Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a huge demand for teaching English. But again, teaching English might not be for everybody. So that's why, again, you can just go to my website and find the digital nomad job section. And there's something to get you at least started. But look, at the end of the day, there's another thing that I recommend for people to do. Look, if you plan on doing what me and Aaron did, which is move to Mexico and live in Mexico and start a new life in Mexico, well, you got to start doing like other immigrants do when they go to the USA, which is, open up a business. I'm not saying open up a gas station, but, you can open up a, any kind of business, any kind of, become an entrepreneur. You gotta be what?
As you know,
yeah.
You have to be a go-getter.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, remember, you're now the immigrant. You're coming now into a country, and remember, the economy here is booming. This is not a third world country, anymore. And so you got to plan accordingly. It's like if you're gonna move to a country in Europe, you know what I mean? Like it's just, it's nice. You know what I mean? It's not like just whatever country. So you got to take all that into effect. Take that all in mind. Now, Rob Borland is asking me. Shout out to Rob again. He's asking, how will the American election affect Mexico if Trump or Biden wins? Okay, so look, I'm gonna answer that real quick, and I'll let you, take it, from there. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter, because Mexico's Mexico, and each one has their own, kind of politics. But look, I'll just be honest. Again, I'm not political in any way. I don't really care. But my opinion, if Biden, what I mean, even though he might be a disaster, for people that live abroad, Biden is a better president, and for people that, again, if you are living abroad, you don't want Trump as president. Now, if you're in the USA, it might be the other way around. Now, again, I don't want to get political, but at the end of the day, these are for people that are still kind of intertwined with the U.S. But if you're like me and Aaron, or or you're out there and you don't plan on being intertwined with the USA anymore, it really doesn't matter. I don't hear anything about politics out here. Again, I keep, my friend keeps reminding me they're in an election year, right? Because I don't even, I keep forgetting that they're even, that there's an election going on. I mean, we hear more about the Mexican election and Mexican politics when you're living out here than anything about the U.S. You very rarely hear anything about the U.S. unless you are plugged in to the U.S., which again, me, Aaron, are not, but...
Very, very quick, because Rob and I have talked about this before.
Okay.
My preference for my cousins and friends who live in the United States, it's Trump.
Okay.
But again, as you were saying, I'm living here in Mexico, and the Mexican economy is growing. I mean, the Mexican Daily News, which is an English newspaper that you can sign up for, and it's delivered to your inbox every day. The last thing I saw on economics here in Mexico, the Mexican National Bank, Banco de Mexico, is predicting a 4.6% growth rate here in Mexico this year, where while in the United States, they're actually sliding into oblivion.
Yeah. So, so long story short, it really doesn't matter who gets elected. It could be, what is it, the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny can get elected in the USA. As if you're living in Mexico, yeah.
My preference here in Mexico is because one of the ladies happens to be of my religion.
Okay, so you're talking about the Mexican elections, so that's another thing too. So, honestly, again, there's two. Okay, so in Mexico, let's talk about Mexican politics for just one quick second. So in Mexico, there's two women that are the ones that are fighting for a presidency, and that's it. So it's basically, we're gonna have the first woman president, right? I think in Mexican history. Yeah.
If everything goes as the polls are showing now, you're not only going to have the first woman president of Mexico, but you're going to have the first female Jewish president of Mexico.
And who is that again? Because I'm not into.
That's Scheinbaum.
Okay, yeah, okay. Oh yeah, sorry. I don't even. You're like a bit like Goldberg, Yeah, you're right. She's a Jewish name. I don't even think about it.
For people from the United States, you hear names like Goldberg or Scheinbaum. Okay. Here in Mexico, they might not equate it, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that's going to be cool. It's going to be interesting as hell, to see. And she's young, right? I mean, I don't know how old she is, but she looks pretty young, for a presidential candidate. Yeah.
Middle to late 50s.
Okay. Yeah. So she's pretty young. Yeah, because in the U.S., the two guys, like in their 80s, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, okay, let me see. Okay, David M says, so are you implying securing online income before moving there? Look, not securing online income, just securing income, whatever that is. And yes, if you're coming from abroad, it's probably going to be online income. But again, it could simply be, coming out here, setting up shop, and then, starting a business out here. So there's many, like, again, I've interviewed people on the channel, so I got other videos on the channel Bernardo, came out here from New Jersey, and he had he has an Italian restaurant. I got Sophie. She's from France. And she has her own, restaurant as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, listen, there's many things you can do. They're not working online.
Uh,
So
one of the things I would encourage is to secure an online teach. If you are inclined to teach, secure contact a um, a Mexican employer
mhm.
who is advertising for an online teacher and secure that a couple of months before you come down.
Right.
That way, when you land, you're already employed, you already have money coming in, so you don't have to go crazy running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Right, right. And because that's the number one priority that anyone moving to Mexico should, have in mind is that you got to have some income. If you don't have income, you're not going to last very long out here. And look, for me, when I moved out here, I was living in LA, and I already was picking up the, what is it, like the skill of editing videos and helping people making videos. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. I was just a freelancer, you know what I mean? Up until, I was able to support myself on doing what I do. But again, it doesn't have to just be teaching English. I want to just keep reminding everybody out there. Teaching English is like the
No, there
easiest
are
way.
a
That's
lot
like
of
the best.
different things you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do.
Yeah, teaching English is like the easiest way. It's something you can get a job like that, no whatever. But I know there's a lot of people out there that reach out to me, like, "Oh, Jose, I can't be a digital nomad. Oh, I can't be teaching English." Look, there's other jobs out there as well. You can work for a
Uh,
hotel. You can work for a
well,
corporation. You can do a bunch of things, but you can
well,
secure that
like
job.
in the last time we talked, I have a friend here in Querétaro. She's Mexican, but she lived in the United States for 5 years. She has excellent English, both spoken and written. She is a digital uh, assistant,
Okay.
or
Yeah, yeah,
she
yeah,
assists executives, and she does it from her home here in Querétaro.
yeah, yeah.
She's covering three different. It would be like we in the old days we would have called her a secretary.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they call so it's a virtual assistant. But yeah, you know what I mean. You're a
Yeah,
secretary,
she
but you can
has
work from anywhere.
three people. None of them live in or do business in Mexico. It's all international. She does it all by her lonesome from her computer. She gets paid through PayPal, and
And
that's
that's it.
it.
Yeah, and so
That's another way to do it.
yeah, and so look again. The reason that digital nomad jobs, again doing something like the virtual assistant, or when I was earning money from the USA, again having my freelance work, why is that more attractive? Well, because you get paid in a currency that's worth more at the moment, out here in Mexico. But the thing is like again, why a lot of people don't want to work in Mexico, or that's not as an attractive as as it might seem for some people, is because now they got to earn in pesos. Because like you were saying, you know what I mean, like some jobs are getting paid like $5 or $6 or $7 an hour. Okay, but in Mexico, that's a lot of money. That translates to a lot more money than it does in the USA. In the USA, you're starving to death. You know what I mean? At $7 an hour, which by the way, that's still the minimum wage in the US, and there's still people getting paid that over there. So, but out here, you know what I mean, that goes a lot further. So again, it's all about getting your mind correct. Basically just stepping out of the what what you think you're gonna, what is it, your cultural norms, or what is it, or damn, what's the word I'm looking for? But like reducing, or what is it, or just taking it back a little bit, you know what I mean, like lowering your standards a little bit, lowering the
Yeah,
standards
no,
of what you think you can make or whatever. And
you have to be realistic
correct. At the end of the day, remember, you're gonna
of what
your quality of
life
life is
is.
gonna your quality of life is gonna increase by living in Mexico. It's not all about the money. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
Well, um, hey, my quality of life is my desk, and there's my bed.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh, the other morning, I had a 7 to 8 o'clock class. I got out of bed 6:45. and I was online 15 minutes later teaching my class. So you want quality of life? There's quality of life.
Right, correct. Yeah, I mean, the freedom to live your life and not be a wage slave, as they like to say. So Lenora is saying, it's like, Jose, no, the minimum wage in Maryland is 15 an hour. Yeah, in Maryland, okay, same as like maybe Washington State or or whatever it is in California. But look, I'm from Florida. Minimum wage over there is $7 or less, okay, and the federal minimum wage. Okay, we're talking about federal. Across the
Right.
USA is like around 7 an hour. And it's just the truth, okay? So yes, of course, it differs from state to state, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Mexico here, and as
You know, I'm a I'm a teacher. The lowest amount that I get paid is 250 pesos an hour.
okay, yeah, that's
That's
great.
my low wage.
Yeah, that's great. And so, yeah, 250 these days is like what, maybe a 15 an hour, give or take. So that's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're getting paid you're getting paid what they're paying people at McDonald's in Maryland. So, but that's a lot of money here, man. $15 an hour here is a
Oh,
lot of money. Because a typical Mexican still, again, if you ask like a regular, public servant in Mexico, someone that works at Oxxo, or 7-Eleven or the grocery store, whatever, they're making like around $500 a month. Okay, and that's I'm being very generous here.
and you're being very generous at
Right,
500.
right. So, but that's the thing. That's why a lot of Mexicans, they don't know. All of them don't normally rely on just working a job. They have the freedom here to be entrepreneurs and start a business. And so, yeah, entry.
I,
They work a job, but eventually they start their own thing or do their own thing, and that's it.
my my landlord, okay, he is an engineer, but he took the money from there, and he owns three buildings that he rents out apartments. Plus, he has a little repair shop in the back of his house.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's the thing. I mean, Mexicans, they're not just getting richer as a country. It's not just an economy that's booming, but again, they have a very they're known as like some of the hardest workers in the world. So their work ethic is above and beyond where a lot of people out there in the world are. And they have, again, this guy's an engineer. He's like, all right, I'm gonna put. I'm gonna start. Again, he got to the point where he owns 3 businesses and another side business, and they're just constantly generating money and in reinvesting that money. Again, not in stocks, not in flulala, like just things that are up in the air. No, in actual physical things like buildings or apartments or houses or gold and silver, and I could go on and on and on. And by the way, I can go on and on and on. All right, so let's start wrapping this up because it's already we're about to hit 2 hours, and I still got to do my other show. But I want to just give a quick shout out to I see Destination Retirement in the chat. Shout out to her. Hi, how's it going, Amy? Long time no see. Hopefully we can get together again soon. Shout out to her. Shout out to everyone else is in the chat. I see Pablo has one more question, which is, did they, and he asking in Spanish, he's like, did they ask you for a deposit, when you're renting your place, or did you just, pay,
My landlord, believe it or not, I pay month to month, and he did not require. I know most places do ask for a deposit.
Okay.
Just
So,
so happens that my guy doesn't.
okay. And by the way, in most of Mexico, from what I understand, they're not really asking for a deposit. Maybe 1 month deposit, that's it. Where I live in the Yucatan, they're special out here, meaning that, a lot of times they're going to ask you for the month to move in, and then they're going to ask you for 2 months rent, and they're going to ask you for a lawyer fee. Because I hear all the time other Mexicans that are moving out here to Merida, and they're like, bro, what the hell's going on over there? They're like, they're price gouging everything. They're stealing our money. But from what I understand, like even in places like Mexico City, it's just like, you just show up with the month. You don't even have to have the full month, and you can still move in, so, to rent out. So it just depends on where you're at, but for the most part, it's probably
Right.
just like 1 month, 1 month to move in, and then one deposit.
Usually what you do is you pay the month's rent, and then what they call a security
Yeah,
deposit,
yeah.
which is usually not a full month's rent,
Okay.
but it's just in case you do any damage to the apartment, they can clean it up.
Got it. Okay. Well, okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because in Merida, like for example, you know what I mean. Let's like, let's say the rent is 10,000 pesos or 5,000 pesos. Well, they're gonna ask for the 5,000. They're gonna ask for two more deposits that are 5,000 equal. You know, it could be 10,000, whatever, but equal to rent, and then like a lawyer fee. So yeah, no, listen, but this is just here. In other parts of Mexico, it's just like what you were saying. You know, just rent and then a partial deposit, for, obviously, damages or whatever it is, one more question. This guy asked me this question earlier and I missed it, but, he did ask a question, and I'm going to see if you have an answer for it, because, again, it might be a little difficult question. Okay, so the question is, are there any special work programs for people with disabilities? Here in Michigan, there are places like the Michigan Works and Community Living Center that help people get jobs. Is there something like that, that you know of?
Um, I will have to do some research on that, but I do know that out near Puerto Vallarta,
Hmm.
there is Punta Mita, I think is the name of the area, and they have a work program for disabled people.
Okay. Yeah, and by the way, so like, and I think I mentioned it before. Let me just bring it here real quick. So this is Dr. Simi. He's very, very famous all across Mexico for having, pharmacies and really affordable medical care and so on and so forth. This guy is a national treasure. Okay, out here in Mexico. But anyways, these dolls. Okay, the people that make these dolls are people with disabilities. Basically everyone that's involved in making these dolls are people with disabilities. So again, Mexico's a very different country. No matter what the disability is. I mean, I know people that are basically in a wheelchair. Okay, they can't walk or whatever, and they figure out a way to be a taxi driver. They're you can do anything and everything out here. There's
Um,
not much government help for many
uh,
people. So go ahead.
the name of I don't know the full name, but the location this um, of this group that helps out disabled. They are located in Punta Mita in Jalisco near Puerto Vallarta.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm sure, that there might be others around the country, right? Some, similar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, cool. Do you know what's the name again? Maybe because I can type it into the chat. Um,
Punta Mita
Pun-
is the community where they're located.
okay, Punta Mita. Okay. All right. Okay. So before we let you go, hold on. I want to show. Hold on. Let me see if we can get this. Okay. But anyways, okay. So all right, guys. We're about to let you go. We've already done 2 hours, of a live stream with Aaron here. Before we go, I want to, make sure that everyone that's enjoying, the live streams enjoys, hanging out with me, interacting with me, and want to hear, some fun stories. Hold on. Where's my? Hold on a second. I'm trying to find it. Geez. Anyways, but I'm going to be going live real soon. And like about 30 minutes from now, we're going to be going live on. Okay, I'm going to put it here on my other
By
channel.
the way, everybody, he missed his calling. In the U.S., he's the one who should have been the head of the Tonight Show.
Thank you, thank you. Oh man, I can't find. Wait, man, I had it here and I lost it. All right, hold on a second. Give me 1 second. But by the way, while I look for this, okay, while I plug my show, do you have any final words? Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say? Before we head out here today.
Yes. As we said in my last interview, and I'll give a plug for Mr. Andrew Henderson
From the
of
Nomad Capitalist, right?
Nomad Capitalist, and and he has actually registered this saying: "Go where you're treated best."
That's right. That's right.
And if Jose doesn't mind me speaking for him, I would say that for both Jose and me, Mexico has been the place that has treated us best, and definitely not Estados Ucrapos, crappy states of America.
The was it the USSA, right?
Yeah.
So,
Um, uh, all the expats out there, whether you're in the United States, in Canada, just one of these days talked to Rob about the reasons he left Canada. Uh, it is pretty much what me and Jose have talked about here. In fact, Mr. Trudeau might be a factor even worse than in the United States.
yeah, man.
At least I never had my bank account seized in the United States.
Yeah, yeah.
At least not yet.
Not yet, not yet. No, but
Um,
yeah, yeah. The Canada's moving way quicker than we are, in the U.S. When it comes to
yeah,
tyranny, right? So,
yeah. The thing is, you have to worry about yourself, your family, and if you have children or plan to have children, where do you want them brought up?
right.
Where you want your children to have respect for other cultures, other people, then you definitely don't want Canada or the United States. You want places like Mexico. And again, to Andrew Henderson, who's a very smart man, go where you're treated best.
That's right. That's right. And so, with all that being said, again, it's not just where you're treated best, but where you and your family are treated best. There's a lot of people coming out here with family and
Correct.
kids and all that stuff. But, anyways, with that said, guys, all right, thank you so much, Aaron. I really, really appreciate you, joining us today, and talking to the audience about your story, about why you live here, but everything we talked about today. I'm sure the audience, really, really was able to get some information out of it, and I really hope that they enjoyed the show. And just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you so much.
So,
Yeah.
guys, see you later and talk to you later, Jose.
Okay, talk to you later. Hold on,
Bye.
don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Just stay there, stay there. So, anyways, real quick.
Okay.
Okay, real quick, guys. All right, so we're hold on. There we go. Okay, so guys, we're gonna be going live soon. All right. Sorry, geez, I don't have it even set up here. Terrible. Is this it? No, that's him. Jose Unleashed. Where's my thing? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, there we go. Boom. Okay, guys. All right, we're gonna be seeing you guys real soon. Okay, again, please join me over there. If you guys enjoyed today's show, you guys enjoy my live streams, you guys enjoy, having fun with me here in Lambo and everybody, and you guys want to hear about that time that I worked at a strip club in Miami, please, go join me over there and my other channel, where I'm, basically telling you guys all my stories
Well, by
about
the way,
my life.
everyone,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
will be joining him.
Oh
I
yeah,
will
you're gonna be
be
joining me over there.
joining him.
Awesome. Anyways, all right, guys. So again, please, I put the link in the chat, okay? And hope to see you guys there soon. Okay, I need to take a little bit of a break, and then I'll be there soon. So again, hope to see you guys there, and we're gonna continue the hilarity and the fun and the knowledge. And Aaron's gonna be there. He said he's gonna be there in the chat, and he's gonna be, maybe he'll have his 2 cents about strip clubs, or whatever it is. So, all right, guys, real quick before we go, okay, just one last, goodbye. Again, thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you for all your invaluable knowledge. And again, I know a lot of words of encouragement for a lot of people out there that are, again, wanting to move to Mexico. And again, they have concerns over things like residency, getting a job, do they need to know English, and so on and so forth. I know a lot of you guys, got a lot of real value from Aaron's, interview. So, all right, Aaron. All right, say bye. You're on screen, so say bye. All right, say bye. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys. See you later. Bye.